we're live. We're live. Hi, everybody. So I'm here with this beautiful, amazing person. Desiree, thanks for jumping on here with me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Woo. So we just wanted, we actually don't have anything like, I love that actually, like pre-set up, and we kind of just were like, we want to get together, and we were looking at topics and being different out loud. Is that what we said, right? Hold on. Being different out loud. Yeah.
I love that.
It's been in my world so much lately. And but first I want to hear from you. Like what pops for you when you even bringing that up, like being different out loud? What is that?
Oh my gosh, it's immediately like the vulnerability, which is also the excitement to stay on that that edge of not taking yourself so seriously, and also being seen, like revealing yourself unperfected, unrehearsed, and trusting that you are a gift just the way you are. Yeah, like, and it doesn't mean you can't have finesse or rehearse or do whatever it is you need to do, or extra edit that book you want to put out to the world. I mean, that's all good and fine. But as long as we don't lose ourselves in trying to formulate an image or something that isn't just as vulnerable and living and funny and brilliant as we actually are. But that's the thing we usually don't want to let out. You know, for a really long time, I was super serious as long as I was around people. Which I don't know how well I pulled it off. I mean, I think there's such a burst of laughter always available in my world, but I worked so hard to have this certain level of composure, which didn't allow my difference to be voiced. It was some other version of some character I created that I thought the world would like better than me.
Thank you for being here.
I already arrived laughing and red and hot because it's 100 degrees here.
Where are you again?
I'm in Colorado, and it is so hot last couple
I didn't know it got so hot there.
Oh, it gets blazing.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is really interesting because I had a new client today coming into my home, and I just kind of got ready, and then I realized, I'm like, oh, weird, something's missing. Like something, like what? There's something that I used to do when I had new clients, and then all these reference points to like be professional and like oh my, I forgot to do all those things. I don't feel like prepared. And I was like, oh my god. It was like a bizarre kind of thing. And then I was like, what if I was just like being me? Like, so what if they went running and screaming because I don't know, I didn't do like that. Almost like it takes so much control for me to not be me.
Yep.
Like it's like a micromanagement, like almost like every, like, how do I stand? And then how do I talk? And then,
how do I stand? I know. We become these crazy controlled caricatures that we think the world will take more to heart than our unique difference, or we think they're going to value their session more if we stand that way. And if we have this perfected formula of what feels like a reference of another session somewhere or something, which they chose you in the first place for your weird, wonderful space of not judging anything.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We're crazy.
We're so crazy. And I realized I don't only just use my reference points, but I'll try and go into their world and find out like, what's their reference point for this? And then I'll just try and do that because then I can't fuck up. But I was like, and it was an amazing session. He's an awesome person. And I thought to myself, or had the awareness really of the things that I really remember that impact me is when someone's willing to be different.
Yeah.
And when there's something that isn't like the normal, that isn't a reference point, then I'm like, oh, like that, is with me.
Oh, it's so relaxing, and especially if somebody has a sense of humor about where they may have said something that wasn't, like the joke with a lot of my clients that is I'll start swearing like a sailor, or I can't stop laughing and they're snoring sound asleep, but there's so much energy. And I'm always like, I am a professional. This is serious stuff. Which, like, the sense of humor for whatever shows up relaxes people, relaxes others, into, so we are funny. We are a funny, fun species pretending to be something so not funny and fun.
Yeah. Okay,
right?
can you share with me, you talked about caricature, no, that's not it, I'm gonna say it wrong. Character. like
caricatures.
Like when people draw you on the street, I don't know.
Yeah, caricatures. It's like an extra carica.
That one.
You don't want to say it wrong. You better stop the live and figure it out, and then
we're just gonna pause. I'm gonna go rehearse, and then we're gonna come back for you guys. Okay. But okay, so what are some tools that you personally used to kind of get out of always wanting to go to that character, that role, or that,
well, there's two. The first thing is if I catch myself, so a lot of those caricatures. Oh no. Those can be brilliant manipulations, and they can be fun if you're enjoying yourself and not taking it seriously. So there's, like, you don't have to throw them all away. You can be like whatever you want to be if it creates something. But how often can people actually choose to do that from no reference points and not sticking themselves, that they are now defining themselves of the role that they're playing? So I love a really simple one that's been with me for a long time. I don't know if I just said it to myself or if it was specifically said to me, but if I catch myself dressing energetically into an image, I undress.
Oh, I love this.
I mean, delicious.
Yes.
So I love to do it also, like, especially when I think I'm getting it right. And I know what you're saying, like when a new client or a client, it's so easy to know exactly what they would desire you to be. And I've been really good in my life at people pleasing. Like, I can show up for what this person requires, but that's not quite the same thing as I'm pleasing what they're expecting at the exclusion of me. Yeah. So if you undress like roles that you're playing, or you catch yourself doing something energetically in the exclusion of you, stop, full stop, take a few deep breaths. Like, am I here? Am I including me? Is this fun for me? What can I undress, and what can I keep to play with that I won't take seriously? And I think I just learned this because I've been a performer for such a long time, that, like, knowing what it's like to just put myself in a zone of a character and their movements and their clothing and the way their eyes move and their hands move, like, I learned how to include me while playing something and playing with a character. But in my real life, I didn't have that playfulness until I found these, access tools. So I was like, wow, if I'm not having fun with this role, I quit. I don't want to be hired for the grumpy control freak for the rest of my life. That doesn't make nearly as much money as being me.
Well said. And you touched on something. You said being the energy of what's required. And what I noticed is that, like, when I wasn't including me, I was being the energy that they thought they needed, which is very different than being the energy of what's required.
Yeah. Because what's required, that's where you get to have your awareness, the gift of your being, and then you get to play whatever card creates the greatest. It's super deviant. It's mischievous. People can't figure you out because you're constantly changing. And if you take it seriously, they'll take it seriously. But if you're spaced with what you're playing, you'll invite people to possibilities. And you find that people don't stick you with those labels. At least I'm finding that. I used to be so frustrated, like, no, I'm not this. No, I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm not this. Like, I was so frustrated with my parents, my friends at school. I was everybody's friend. And so then like the bad kids and the good kids and the nerdy kids and the music kids and the punks, like I had all these friends and I was all these different aspects, but they all wanted to say that I was something. So I spent a lot of time saying what I wasn't, rather than having ease with being anything that I chose.
Oh,
I don't know. But we think that's only like in grade school or whatever, but we're doing this all the time, especially like working with other people. Like, wow, like what if we just like softened ourselves into what relaxes them at the inclusion of ourselves with the total playfulness and deviance of being undefined? It's just so sexy. I think
it's very sexy. I wanna include some of the people here with us. So we've got like inspiring conversation. Ooh. We have a lot of I'm loving this. Wow, you can be whatever you want to be if it creates something. Jeez Louise.
Well, yeah. So in that regard, it's like, what are you refusing to be? What have you made so solid and real that you would never, ever, ever do that, even if it created greater for them, for you, for the world? And that being, what did we call this thing? Being different out loud?
Yes.
So being different out loud, you can't be different. Like the word different in itself is always moving. Difference is alive. Difference is ripening and changing all the time. So you being different out loud, you gotta roll with the flow. You can't stay any one thing and have your convictions and nail them into the ground. That's being out loud. Being different. Wow. I mean, it's almost like I want to make the word an active verb, but being different is really like the cooler word. It's like playing with tenses, but being different out loud. Mm-hmm.
I like that because I do see where some people they've decided or defined what different is, and then it's out of almost like a fight to the norm, like I'm going to be different, and rather than like which the question you know what I mean.
I do know. You have to stand and talk a certain way to be different.
Got it now. This is how I'm different. And then if someone copies you, oh shit, you better go find a new one or get mad at them.
Maybe you need like more teeth or something. Oh my god. Hey, sorry, hang on a second. He really liked that.
Really.
I don't know. I'm terrible at dog trainer, okay? I don't know what I'm supposed to voice in order to change this.
Okay, so then the energy of like, what difference, like, am I? That's something I've been really, like, almost rediscovering. Like, what difference am I?
Oh, I love that question, because if we were to actually be interested in living, we would explore that constantly, because it's so ongoing and ever changing, and we keep, this is so cool. Like, as soon as we stick ourselves with what we refuse, the characters we refuse to be, and what we've decided we are, it like, about with ourselves most importantly, but with the world, like anywhere you do that, you're actually like paralyzing your curiosity. So when you just ask that, like, wow, if I actually ask that with my full spectrum curiosity, that undefining of everything, so I could find out a new subtlety or a new dynamic shift. But we have to have access to our curiosity and our wonderment in order to ask questions. And that's where like definitions and, taking our caricatures really seriously, destroy it. It's like a pesticide or something. Just, it kills wonderment.
Yeah. Wow. That's okay. So, or be out loud, stay different. Oh, I thought that was an actual question. I was getting pulled. Yeah, Leonie, both of it, all of it. Yeah, I want to I feel like I want to do a clearing. I'm like, oh, there's so much energy on just what you brought up with that, like the pesticide to wonderment, where, So where can we ignite that curiosity in and be willing to be out loud with it while being curious is very uncontrolled. Because if you're curious out loud and you're curious in the difference of it, you can't control it. You have to go over here and be secretly curious and figure it out. And then you can be like, okay, yeah, it's perfect. Okay, here.
Gosh, isn't that familiar though? I mean,
yeah,
it's like that is so the strong arm. That is so familiar. And what a weird, excuse me. Yeah, clearing is required. It's like a weird, slow insistence on searching for something safe. For something safe that's guaranteed some level of rightness according to what you've decided you are. And it just like all of the solidification and slowness like compile on each other. It's like as we're talking about it, it's like oh my God. It's like taking all the wonderment and solidifying it into this very small space that doesn't move much, that we wonder why we can't change something in our lives from there. So like being curious out loud, being different out loud, you're gonna hear the resonance of those questions and those curiosities. And I don't know, like for a while, I knew the first time I came across like access tools, I knew to stick with it, even if nothing really showed up for me for a while. I knew if I just keep listening, that alone is going to just rattle something loose. And I was so grateful that they were willing to be different out loud. And then I'm so grateful for like so many amazing legendary musicians who just wrote their crazy song and they were different out loud or whatever it is. And we romanticize people like, well, they had a talent, they had a thing, they had a something. We all do. We just, it's our point of view that we don't, that keeps us shut up. Right?
Yeah. And I wonder, so I was just like hearing people's heads and it's like, well, exactly what you're saying. Like, well, I don't have that, or if no one's ever acknowledged something in you, then I think we buy that, then there must not be something there.
Yeah.
But that
is, like, can we destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
I might explode. Right. Buckle 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. It's the greatest lie of lies.
I just want to, so if anyone's hearing that for the first time, they're like, what is that magical set of words you just said? You can go to www.theclearingstatement.com for more information on it. That's just a magic tool that Access Consciousness has given us to change energy, essentially. So, so what if, especially those people, if they got curious about themselves?
That's my ask. Gosh, that is like one of my greatest asks of asks is like, what if everyone stopped looking outside for something to use against how little they think and believe in themselves? What if everyone looked at the gift that they are and started nourishing it in kindness and question and being so different out loud? Would be like, one of the things I've been saying recently, the most deviant thing I've ever chosen is to be kind to myself. I mean, talk about going astray, talk about being not accepted in the social norms. If you choose kindness to yourself, not rightness of self, but kindness of self, and actually find yourself interesting and ever changing so those gifts can surface, because there's not just one, there's many. There's many, 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 many. I know, like, as a musician, many people in this reality will say, like, oh, he or she didn't make it. And I used to just break my heart, because I'd be like, what does that even mean? Like, anyone who puts themselves out there is a success at living, not at anything they choose, just being out loud, going for it. But there's this lie that if it doesn't become some expected thing that everybody makes right and check mark, you're awesome, that it didn't have some riveting effect on the world. So that's the other thing. A lot of people will never crack open their gifts because they don't think they're going to make it in, like, whatever that means, like this weird little reality of stardom or something. It's like you have this whole universe, and then like celebrity stardom or making it in this reality is like this tiny little speck. And if you're not going to land on that one speck, then don't be it.
Yep.
I mean,
that.
Your hair swoosh for that one. I am. You have the greatest hair, so if you swoosh it, I know something's happened. Yeah, that speck of validation. Can we just, like, anyone who's hearing this, anywhere that you're hoping, praying, dreaming to land on this speck of validation from something that is not really that interesting to you or to the gift that you truly be, to destroy and uncreate it and go bigger, go for you.
Yes.
Wow.
Do it. Right. You didn't. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pot. Only first voice me on. It needed to happen for me, for my OCD.
Clearing statement, inaudible.
I don't know why this is popping, so I'm just going to speak to it. So I did, like, a couple years ago, someone asked me, like, they were doing a series of interviews. I came on, and then after the interview, I'm like, oh, that was really great. About 30 minutes after, she accidentally deleted it, out of the world, completely gone. Okay. Yeah. And it was like, whoa, because it's like this thing that you created, this energy. And I was like, oh, and then I was like, okay, cool. So what if it didn't matter? And it was that speck of success. There was an energy on that. And then I got a message from someone about 10 minutes after I was told it was deleted. And they said, hey, I just caught your interview. So, like, there's one person in the whole world that watched it. Okay. And she said, it's just kind of listening and multitasking. And I was about to turn it off. And then you said the one thing you said, and I looked at the camera in this interview. She'd asked me this question. I said, you're not crazy. Wow. And she was like, and it struck me, because I'm going through some massive stuff right now. And when you said that to me, it gave me a possibility to keep going, and to think that maybe I wasn't crazy. And I was like, whoa. And we talk about sometimes access, like, what if you just change one person's life? I was like, if that whole hour and the buildup and everything was just to, like, that only that one person ever got to see it. And I'm like, I made it. Like, done. Like, that was the most beautiful, like, gift in that moment that I could have chosen to be.
Absolutely. And then her sphere of influence and how that changed her life and how that ripple effect. But we're so fixated on the accolades or the kudos or the followings, or that we see what we want to see. We want to see our effect, rather than trust and receive energetically, and sometimes feedback of the gift that we are. I made so many things wrong that I thought nobody heard this, or there were only like 10 people there, or this was and while I was in those thoughts, it is clunky, it is constrictive to, like, you feel it and you think that that's the wrongness of what you just put out in the world, or the wrongness that it got deleted, or the wrongness that the class was small, or the wrongness that the concert didn't sell out, or whatever it is. But it's actually the constriction and the lie that you're going into to try to take the brilliance of the creation down to that level of computation.
Yes. And I just, like, it was like, ding, obviously, duh, that's being normal.
totally normal. You are still not normal. That's a caricature that all y'all could just. That one's not so fun to play. It's just not that fun. It's like imagine you're getting like scripts and roles, and your agent's like, hey, which role do you want to play? And you've got like some really fun thing, and then they're like really normal, dull, unenthusiastic, controlling, self-judging, and you have to play it for all eternity, and you're like, sold, and no payment. Don't even pay me. This is gonna win an Oscar, and I'm gonna play it forever.
Oh my God, how many people would go for this will win me the Oscar, but I'll hate my life?
Yeah.
Or this will not win me the Oscar, but I will fucking love myself, and I will love every moment of living.
I mean, that speck of success, we could probably talk about that for in a lot of different ways, because that people will give themselves up for that moment, that speck, that validation, which I don't know if any of you have had it. It also is so lackluster. You're like, wait, because what we really function from is acknowledgement and expansion and oneness. And validation is like, it's like, so doesn't work anymore. If you're truly interested in something greater, even when you get those accolades, you're like, why do I still feel like that isn't what I did this for? Because until you acknowledge you and you be different out loud with you and acknowledge you, it's just, it's just whatever you were saying or being, and kind of just dissolves into that requirement to be validated as something. So I just kind of also just want to say you can ask for that to like weave through your past, because oh man, did I cry through so many years of performing, young, vulnerable, didn't have these tools, and I would give it my all. I'd give it everything that I had, and it wasn't perfect. And I didn't even see who I had touched, who I had moved. All I knew was the wrongness of me, or what I thought I didn't do enough of. And I just burnt my body energy out in the judgment of me and what I wasn't. And when I look back at what I was creating all along and give myself the acknowledgement, you can do that for yourself. You can journey through your life and your past and be your own best friend, not just starting today. You can go backwards too. Go backwards.
Do that.
Yeah, you can. And it changes. And then you don't even remember it through that weird wormhole anymore. You can change it.
Yeah. So I just adore you in a moment of like adoration. Just like,
we got all red. We got all flustered. I kind of like
lost me talking right now.
Oh my God, I'm blushing. Oh my God.
We didn't rehearse this. Oh
no. We are energetic. I perceived something and I got really hot.
Vivian says she is easy to adore. She is easy to adore.
Mm-hmm.
So something I've noticed ever since I ever noticed you, I guess, like, and I don't know when that was, but I was like, I really am so drawn to the difference that you are out loud. Not just like your aesthetic is different, your the way you speak is different, the way you be is different. And so that for you was really a journey with the tools. I'm just curious, like, to be so relaxed being different out loud.
Weirdly, I was born that way, and I tried to contain my difference, or at least modulate it down, and I did that with seriousness, significance, trying to be smart, and it was sort of like no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't hide my difference. I bet you guys listening also are the same way. You may think you're pulling it off, but you're not. Like, you might your body might be subject to how hard you're trying to control yourself down, or your money flows might be subject to how much you might want to control yourself down. Wedgie. But I mean, I've done that, and I still couldn't really diminish it that much. I couldn't hide it very well. It was like trying to hold a Post-it in front of the sun and pretend like that was going to work. So I think it was just a matter of when I found these tools, it gave me, because I had put an ask into the universe. I had one of those breakthrough nights or stages that people have, bathroom floor, middle of the night, same as everybody, like, God damn it. And I, like when and what is it going to take to stop this, like half and half, this like, I have me and I get me and I like me, but maybe other people don't. And I'm trying to be liked. I'm trying to be whatever would work in my career, or I was trying so hard and I didn't trust my difference. So when I had that breakdown, Access showed up and it was like, just be you. And I don't know that I would have known how to acknowledge me if I hadn't witnessed it. And also just something about the environment of these tools, you actually become accustomed to what acknowledgement is. And so, yeah, I just started to trust it more and come out of hiding. It wasn't like becoming more relaxed. It was becoming less pretending that I was ever not.
I love that. And, I actually, talking about going back over your life, like I would say the last week, I've been exploring where, almost like what you said, like where I was already being a lot of what I'm undoing. Like I was always being that person that just wanted to show up for people, that I like being comfortable in front of like large audiences of people. I was the person that showed up like, hey everybody, like we're having a party, right? Right?
Oh my God, I love that.
And where I learned like, oh, that's not appropriate. And like I learned all these behaviors. And so I've been, as I've already been undoing that with Access and the tools, but I've been even more like recalling like, what are those moments? And can I like reclaim all of that and going through and reclaiming and re-owning and acknowledging like the joy that is for me and for my body and all of that.
That is so deviant. And like we're playing with this with some things that I'm creating. We're doing this really cool program about deviance.
I want to hear about it. Yeah.
And it's 3 months of being a generative deviant. Rules are for fools. And it's just like an ongoing conversation to recognize like you've always been a deviant by your very difference. Social norms and being socially accepted is not necessarily your driving interest, but many of us have tried to be rebels and fight for or against something that also doesn't give you any peace of being. So like a generative deviant is a completely different conversation. But what you were just saying, like when you reclaim that all those places that someone made you like inappropriate or obnoxious or imperfect, and we started to like edit ourselves down into what could be acceptable, we were doing rule following. It's not just about like the rules of the government or something. It's like social rules that tame your difference out of even existence. Sometimes people tell me all the time, like, oh, I don't have a difference. I don't even know. And that's okay. It's not a truth, but I know I get it because we edit ourselves into something acceptable as a way to try to get ahead. And then we lose ourselves at the price of that. So this generative deviant thing is all about like, maybe you're a deviant and you like it.
Maybe you really like
and if you're doing it from a space of generosity and from if you're willing to be aware of what your deviance creates, what it generates, then you're going to be aware. You're not going to be deviant. You're not going to do deviance, wreak havoc on someone. You're going to be aware. But how many things would be created if you were no longer edited down? Like, I love that, reclaiming it all back. Like, oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I started laughing in the middle of concerts. So that's why I like honed in this like very serious person. My dad always loved that. He's always like, my favorite concerts are when you're singing a high note and then you can't stop laughing. And I'm like, God, when I look back, do you know how funny that must have been? Like a full orchestra. I made everybody mad. My director, my maestro, everyone was mad, but the whole audience was probably like, oh my God.
Yeah. And so, that's like, well, I talk about like the thing that sticks with you, like that when you show up as that difference of being, every time someone's done that, it is with me forever. Because it changes me. Yeah, it changes me to be witness to that moment for someone. And then it invites me to be more of that. So if I am like, that would be the concert I would never forget.
Well, okay. So this is where we could like wrap it up, I guess, for today. But it's sort of like, again, like, what are you refusing to be that if you'd be, it would create greater? And so when I perceived that I had upset people, like because they were paying me, or like, you know, I liked to make things funny, so it'd be like jokes with wigs, with costumes, like get laughing with a colleague in the middle of a love duet, like funny stuff that really made it fun. But anyway, all of the taming down from like, that's not professional, we're not going to sign you again for blah blah blah, or so there were all these reasons and justifications to lose like some of the joy and the willingness to break the rules a little. Maybe I don't have to go that far, but you could still not throw yourself away. But it's like, I at some point was like, well, I can never be ridiculous. I can never be that crazy like Lucille Ball that like goes cross-eyed on stage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be that. So then I started to decide I want to be this like serious, you know, well-paid, whatever diva chick that isn't me at all. and I was terrified then of if I laugh, if I say the wrong thing, if I'm too friendly during rehearsals, if I make friends with everyone, like all these things, I started to like not trust how I show up anywhere. And then on top of not trusting it, I made them so intensely wrong that they were no longer characters available to play with. Because you don't have to be obnoxious and corny or whatever, but then it's like not even on the table, even if it completely healed somebody in the room.
Yeah.
What? Like usually ourselves.
Yeah.
If you're really getting bored, you might want to whip out one of those things you refuse to lighten you up, lighten yourself up. So I think I've laughed a lot in the wrong atmospheres, or in the wrong, what do you call it? Not atmospheres. What are they called?
Situation? Setting?
I think I laugh a lot or had a tendency to laugh in uncomfortable situation settings, out of like searching for the lightness of me when everyone else was taking something so seriously. So yeah, you know, whatever your thing is.
Yeah. I'm like thinking of so many things.
I know, we gotta go.
We gotta go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this conversation, and I really do adore you. And thank you everyone for being here and listening. And yeah, so I'll put the title of your thing. If you want to put a link, I don't know if you have Desiree's link, go ahead and put it in here. And if you guys want to go be deviant with her, go be deviant with her. And I want to hear about it. I'm like that.
We'll send you messages, even videos.
Oh.
But we want to know how deviant you are, so let us know.
Okay.
You're like, okay. Okay, I'll be different out loud. Yeah. No, thank you. It was so much fun. Next time, I look forward to next time.
Yeah, me too. All right. Bye, everyone.